I just left a high paying job where I was earning more money than I ever had for a lower paying job on a much lower salary.
You're broke!
And no, it's not because I sucked at the job, and it's not because I got fired, but it was completely strategic, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. And if there's anyone else out there who is thinking about leaving their high paying job for a lower paying job, I need you to watch this. So I used to be a lorry driver, and I'd spend so many hours on the road, and I was earning lots of money. But there's actually 5 main reasons why I chose to leave this job. From living at home with a high paying job to having to find my own place on almost half the salary. You're probably thinking this guy's insane, but I have very good reason for why I did this. Let's get into the 5 reasons. The first one is time. I had absolutely no time in my previous job. I was literally waking up, getting ready for work, going to work, spending my whole day working. Then when I'd clock out, I'd drive all the way back home and it's time to rest. And I would do this over and over again. My rota was 5 days on, 3 days off. Those 3 off were nice because I had that time, but those 5 days in a row were a complete killer. So I decided I need something else that can give me time in my evenings or even in the mornings or somewhere, because it was literally eating up the entire working day. So I had no time. So that's one of the main reasons why I left. The second reason, and this ties in with the first a little bit, is I had poor health. Because I was spending all my time on the roads, I didn't have time to properly plan meals. I didn't have time to go to the gym. I didn't have time to focus on myself at all. When I clocked in for work, that was it. I was stuck. So my health was deteriorating because I'd be eating on the roads. I was always out and about. I'd be spending more money on food that wasn't good for me. I'd be trying to reward myself or get instant gratification for such a difficult time and a difficult job by letting my health go down. And so I put on a lot of weight as well, is another thing. So health is massive. They say health is wealth. So if your job is not keeping you healthy, or your health is actually deteriorating or suffering because of your job, I'd maybe reconsider things. The third thing is the cost of energy. I was putting so much time and so much health and energy into this job that when I was home or when I was off on those 3 days, I had no energy to do anything. I didn't want to go to the gym. I didn't want to be healthy. I didn't want to spend time with people. I was just completely cooked and I wanted to just rest. So that energy was being completely drained. I'm sure a lot of you relate. I'm sure a lot of you don't do 12, 13, 14 hours a day at work, but are still completely drained with your job. That's another thing. Using your energy for something that's actually useful as opposed to something that is tearing your life apart. I'd think about that. Cool. Now this 4th reason ties in with the last one as well. Mental bandwidth. If you just can't function because all you're thinking about is work, that should be another red flag for you. Your life shouldn't just be 100% work. Just because you're earning a lot more money doesn't mean that's where you should be. For myself, all I could think about was, okay, I don't want to crash into this. Cool. Am I going in the right direction? Oh, there's a diversion. There's a lane closure. There's so many things to think about. Imagine you're doing this for 14 hours a day. Then you got to drive back home as well. That mental bandwidth just gets completely rinsed and you have no energy to think about anything else in your day. And if you want to progress in other things like hobbies or sports or family, you just don't even have time to think about it. So it can actually add to your cognitive load and you can perform worse at work. So that was the 4th reason why I thought I got to call it a day. Now, this last reason, the 5th reason, is the ceiling. My earnings depended on how many hours I was working. I was linked to hours. If I worked 10 hours, I'd get paid for 10 hours. If I worked 5 hours, I'd get paid for 5 hours, and so on. So I had a ceiling, a literal limit of how many hours I could do per week. Now, I decided to pick a job where there's a salary, but also the harder you work, the more you earn. So commission. However, my day-to-day basis is still the same. I work the same hours and I can still earn more based on those same hours. That way I'm not limited and it adds more freedom to my life because I've got all that time in the day again, 9 to 5, and I got the whole evening to myself. And each day I can earn more, not based on hours, but based on performance, which is why I selected a lower paying job for the time being. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing lorry drivers, by the way. Some people absolutely love being on the roads, they can handle it, but I just wasn't able to handle that too. And there's a lot of jobs out there that people hate so much or love so much. I'm not bashing them. What I'm doing is trying to find out what's best for you. So just have a look at those 5 things. If you can handle your job with those 5 things all intact, happy days. But if not, maybe it's time to reconsider. So what I went for is I chose to become a real estate agent. Why? Is because I believe there is more upside. 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So it's a solid structure. So I've got that time back. I've got that energy back. so I can go to the gym. My health, I can have a meal in the morning before I go to work, bring something to work with me, and even at the end of the day, have a nice healthy meal as well. So my health is returning. I've actually gone back to the gym. I'm in much better shape than when I was driving those trucks. So I'm getting those things back. The mental bandwidth as well. As soon as I clock out of work, I don't have to think about work ever again. Whereas when I was a HGV driver, I was still thinking about my following day, the different routes I'd be taking, and it was tough. So that mental bandwidth is, I'd be literally having dreams of reversing trucks onto bays. Man, it was tough. Whereas as this job now, I feel like it's pretty healthy. So if there's something out there which is a lot healthier for you, but pays a little bit less, again, reconsider. Start thinking about these things. Another thing is, I didn't see this as me downgrading my lifestyle because I'll be earning less, but I thought I'd be gaining more skills in life. I'll be picking up things like negotiation, I'll be picking up money talk, I'll be picking up different skills that actually build me as a person, as opposed to, well, driving lorries. I feel like it was very monotonous. You got to a certain level, cool, you can drive trucks now. That's about it. Not many other skills were put into this besides maybe organization and sheer grit to be able to stay on the road for that long. Now, I don't want you to quit your job just because of these 5 things, but think about this. How old are you? What is your life situation? You know, have you got kids to feed? Different situations require different actions. For me, I don't have as many responsibilities. I don't have any children, and I can actually afford to take a massive pay cut in order to achieve something else. I feel like this is also a long-term move. These skills that I'm building will help me in the future. Whereas driving trucks was getting me loads of cash, but that was about it. Just loads of cash, but it wasn't helping me with anything else. Again, not bashing lorry drivers, not bashing people who are doing jobs that just require sheer grit, or not bashing blue collar, but I am a massive advocate for people that want to build skills and chase a different part of life that can actually build them. Okay, now here's the bottom line. It's going to come from a quote actually from my workplace. I remember talking about how, I wasn't enjoying the job, I wanted to leave, maybe I could find something else or do something else. And they said, think of the money. And I was like, and they said, yeah, well, you could get yourself a house or you could rent somewhere that's really expensive. I was like, okay, cool. But I'd have all that cash, but I wouldn't even be able to live in the house. I'd be stuck in the trucks 24/7. So that high pay isn't freedom. High pay does not equal freedom. More money does not equal freedom, unfortunately, in this world. Yes, it helps. Yes, it can fix a lot of problems. I'm a massive advocate for making more money, but I also think the means and how you get that money is very important as well, because we're still human beings. We're not quite machines. We still need to function, we still need to develop, we still need to learn and grow. So this depends on many different factors. Don't quit your job immediately. Think about this, be strategic. I took a massive risk from going from a high paying job to a low paying job, especially with the privilege of living at home with my parents being taken from me now and me having to find my own place, then going to a low paying job. It's a big risk, and it's something that I'm willing to take in order to achieve more. So if you're wrestling with career decisions, if you're not a fan of your job, or you just want to change, or you're not quite sure what you want to do in life, but your head is thinking, let me just go for the money, I'd ask you to reconsider. I'd ask you to rethink that and have a look. Think about your true goals in life. You don't always have to chase the money. Now, for me personally, I've documented this whole transition on my YouTube, my TikTok, my Instagram. So go and have a look at that. I'm still in the process right now. I still technically do live at home with my parents. However, if you want to see my journey of me finding my own place and moving in, affording the monthly payments and all that, go ahead and hit subscribe. But to anyone else out there who wants to change their life, I'd say go for it.